See them being able to have a little bit more control from the jungle. The Wukong yesterday didn't really give them the opportunity to shadow 5 Kaden straight. They really struggled in that 2v2 against DFM, so we'll have to see how they're going to set up this draft to try and give themselves that easier time. Already though, a lot of target bans down towards that bottom side of the map, which honestly you see a lot of teams go for against Gumayusi and Keria.
Absolutely. Again, I don't think it's an egregious statement to say that they are probably the scariest bot lane in the entire tournament. So you want to try and at least mitigate some of those massive power picks. We do see the Lucian going in. You've been thinking pretty much all the time since before we came on that this Lucian pick is just too damn powerful. You cannot leave it open.
I think it's just the flexibility that it offers. I mean, we saw it pop off in the last game, how strong it can be bot. It opens up, like, if you want to flex it to mid, you can go for the card this jungle. It's just got a ton of stuff that really works for it. So I don't think we're going to be seeing it too often as the tournament starts to progress. But Twisted Fate now banned away means that Keria has a little bit more wiggle room than he did yesterday. We saw a ton of bans towards him yesterday, but now should be able to go towards things like Leona if you want to play that bit more aggressive, or if he wants to fall back towards these enchanters like we saw across the board in LCK.
Well, the Leona banned away, so we're not going to see Leona or Nautilus in this particular game. The most, I'd say, arguably most played bot lane support matchup we've ever seen so far this year, and we're going to see now where the side of AZE want to go. Ooh, okay, so they're picking up the AP jungle first. So they're trying to see if those AD solo laners are available to them.
Yeah, I mean, it means that you're kind of looking at things like the Yone in that mid lane, but it does mean that you're kind of falling into the same trap I felt like they fell into yesterday, where you don't have a jungler that can be proactive pre-6, and it means that you don't really have those opportunities to shadow 5 Kaden straight, which honestly, when you look at AZE domestically in the LLA, that was where a lot of their strength came from. So now I have to see if you can get some sort of strong bot lane for 5 Kaden straight so they can try and match up against Gumayusi and Keria. Wukong, though, taken here, going to be going towards Owner, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them go towards a jungler here. Looks like this Vi's being hovered at least, but I don't think we'll see it picked up.
Yeah, and the Wukong is very interesting. You've got the Wukong, and of course, the Ahri being locked in. We know how Ahri works. We know how strong they can be in that mid lane. But the Wukong specifically, it does feel like you do need a little bit of extra help just for those first early levels, but then you can start to snowball from there.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're kind of looking towards team fights here, realistically. So I'm curious to see what AZE are going to bring out. I love the Vex here. I think it's a good answer in towards the Ahri and can do really well in team fights, especially when you look at like the opportunity to try and blow people up in these short-range kind of assassins that you've got. But it does mean you're double AP, which makes things a little bit easier on T1 side for their mid-jungle. And I mean, you can stack the Merc threads, especially on something like this Wukong, and have a little bit of an easier time now.
Well, wait to see now. The Vex locked in, so you're kind of matching team fight with team fight just a little bit right now. You see where the side of AZE want to try to take their last pick before we do go into the second round of bans. And the Zeri, again, bot lane just hasn't really been the focus. And when we see things like the Caitlyn, the Twisted, or excuse me, not Twisted Fate, the Lucian being banned away, these things can just rise up in priority.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what way they'd go for the bot lane here. You could always go towards something like a Misfortune if you wanted to have that strength and kind of that pushing power, but definitely a little bit worried about like the amount of AP damage with the AP Misfortune as well. So Zeri does make a lot of sense. You still got a lot of that AoE damage that you can lean into those fights. And we'll have to see what the answer is going to be here for T1. Going towards the Gwen, surprised to see this kind of coming in as much as we've seen it. At least to me, coming into MSI, I was like, oh, well, it can do well into tank matchups and things maybe like the Scion and the Ornn, but I'm surprised to see how high priority we're actually getting from a lot of these teams on the Gwen.
And also, as well as that, looking at T1's draft right now, there's a lot of individual skill making, skill expression, if you will, to be able to just do whatever you want to do. You can get solo kills with every single one of these champions, and we still haven't seen the bot lane yet, so we're curious to see now where they want to go. Naturally enough, you are going to start to see T1 banning away counters into the Gwen, things that can just match her up.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like things like the Ezreal are still there, so you still got that flexibility for Gumayusi if you want to head towards that on the bottom side of the map. But we're definitely starting to see a bit of a pinch. We've even seen kind of Jhin rise up in priority in that bottom half of the map as well. And when you've got so much damage coming through from like your jungle, your mid, your top lane as well, wouldn't be surprised to see these more utility-focused picks coming through just to try and lend that engage tool across.
Well, the Gangplank's been banned away, so you've got yourself one last ban here for AZE, and we'll see what they want to go for. Again, we expect it to maybe be in that bot side. Maybe they go for a support as well. We'll see where they want to try and go for it. Of course, you will get first pick of support, or maybe even AD carry as well on the backside. It's Draven, so they're trying to, again, get rid of those very aggressive bot lanes that can just snowball out of control.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense here when you're just trying to set yourself up nicely. You're going to see the Sentinel coming across, though, for Gumayusi, so taking a little bit of that step back, still kind of offering a little bit of that utility that we were talking about, but I definitely think looking at AZE, you've got options here in the support role. You could go for engage, but realistically you already have the Vex, you have the Diana as well, so you could actually see something like a Renata come through here and trying to dissuade the engage that's going to come through from T1. I think it could work out really well, even just like opening up the fact you can go for these enchanters because there's a Senna on the bottom side.
Well, you got the Jace there, so good, decent amount of damage coming out here. A decent poke as well, so does combo up fantastically well with the Diana. You have got kill pressure now on the top side.
And we saw Jace fall away because of the nerfs to his armor and everything like that on the top side, but when you already know that you're up against this Gwen, Jace is a great pick into this matchup. A ton of pressure in the lane, the opportunity to push, even kill pressure as well at times as well. So we'll have to see now if Lonely can have a bit of a better time for himself in that top side. It looks like we're going to get the Alistair support coming through, so all in even more so on this big engage for AZE, this wombo combo that can lend itself so strong to those team fights.
We are going to wait for the last pick to come in now here for the side of T1, and it could be a fasting Senna, could be a support Senna. We will wait to see now what they actually want to go for, because again, there's a lot. I'm just looking at T1's comp. There's an awful lot of damage right now. Like, you get caught out from a flank from the Gwen or the Wukong, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's a Kindred.
I actually think that this is going to be the Wukong bot lane. We saw it a little bit before in LCK, especially leading over into Worlds. They've been picking it up a little bit, but it looks like that's going to be the plan here, right? You've got the farming Wukong bot side. You've now got the Kindred in the jungle, so a very good tool to counteract this big engage that we're just talking to from AZE. So really nice flexibility coming through from T1 in the draft.
And again, just more question marks kind of coming up of how do you deal with this, because at the end of the day, yes, you've got an awful lot of all-in on the side of AZE, but you're not really going to be able to catch them all as 5. If T1 are kind of clumped together in one big ball, they're kind of doing their comp wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's it. It's like T1 definitely have these the pressure if they want to, but I actually think like the problem that you're looking at is, hey, look, you've got an immune Gwen, which makes it a little bit tough for the Zeri to try and follow up on this engage. Same when you look towards the Jace. Like, if you're clumped up in this 5v5, you've got Ahri who can actually try and dodge away from a lot of this engage. And realistically, you shouldn't really have Senna and Ahri in on top of each other. So trying to find these big moments where you can have this wombo is going to be tough, especially with the Kindred there as well now. So I think T1 have a pretty good opportunity here, and even a chance if they want to try and look for some of these invades off of like bot side pressure, off of mid lane pressure, to try and get this Kindred ahead.
And again, look, obviously T1 are heavy favorites. No one's going to try and tell you otherwise on that. But this is about what can AZE do. This is about kind of showing how powerful you can maybe show up here. And again, similar to Buffalo yesterday, give a bit of a scare. Kind of say, look, we do have options, we do have avenues, and just give yourself a good showing today.
Yeah, I think the big one for me is like seeing if Dimitri can kind of lend himself towards this bottom side of the map, make sure that they're not falling behind as much as they did yesterday, and see if AZE can kind of get into this mid game where they are in a stronger point. Because when you look at like the way AZE has been playing, their mid game is kind of where they popped off. This early game has been a bit of a struggle for them.
We are going to see how it all ends up unfolding. T1 looking pretty dominant in their game yesterday, looking to continue that trend, and AZE seeing if they can maybe catch somebody out. But with the ward going down on either side, they know they're not going to be able to get anything going for them. But I like the idea, you know, someone takes a step too far forward, at least it's something.
Yeah, it will give the opportunity though for Carrier to get this ward in on the red buff, so, or at least on the Raptors there, so we'll be able to spot out Dimitri as he makes his way through the clear. So giving that information to Owner, and if you end up in a position where, you know, Faker has pushed mid, he links up with Owner, suddenly Dimitri can be in a lot of trouble with that 2v1.
Minions have spawned.
I'm curious now as well. We haven't seen a Kindred. We have fringe Kindred is probably the better way to put it. We haven't seen it in a while. How does this champion operate within the scope of this game? What are you expecting to see coming out here from Owner?
I mean, I think a lot of it is going to be trying to see if he has these moments to get into the face of the game, right? Like, it is going to be tough. You don't really have too much push on the bottom side because Carey is the one farming. Same you look at Zeus or AZE in the top lane, he's going to be getting pushed in relatively hard as well. So it means you've got to kind of pick your times here as Owner as to when you can play with Faker to look for these quick picks in the jungle on towards Dimitri. Because as a Kindred, you really need to start getting these stacks in the enemy jungle. Otherwise, it just takes so long for you to hit that fourth stack and really become relevant.
Yeah, if you're wondering as well, the fourth stack is the important marker. It's when you really kind of get access to actually being a champion, to be perfectly honest. You get the extra range, of course, you get the extra damage, and it just makes your quality of life a lot better.
Yeah. And one of the things that we often see from like T1 domestically is like when Owner is on these like farming champions, right? Oftentimes you actually end up seeing Carrier kind of playing like a secondary jungle role, right? Like where he's roaming to mid to help Faker, to unlock him, to play for sides, and you've kind of got this like rolling machine that starts to move around the map. So I'm now curious to see with Carrier being the one farming, if we're going to see Gumayusi be able to link up with Owner in the same way, or if you don't really get Carrier or Gumayusi as active in these early stages as you traditionally see from T1.
See what AZE are able to kind of do to disrupt, because that's what it kind of feels like right now. You kind of need to do what Buffalo did yesterday, where they go in for the all-in on bot lane. You need to try and just throw T1 a little off kilter, because I'm gonna be real, like if you go standards, you're probably not gonna win.
I mean, they're already too late for that. That was level 1,
I was gonna
so
say,
you know you've already missed your mark on that one. Yeah.
But it does feel like, you know, we are gonna have to see a little bit of maybe moments of maybe madness, maybe brilliance. It depends on how it actually ends up working out for them, as we can see a bit of an all-in, kind of part and parcel for the matchup.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared for them at 6, honestly, in for AZE's bot lane. Because once you get access to carry his ultimate, that's we can go for the all-in to 5-Kid. And now, Straight will have to kind of play keep away or bouncer to prevent 5-Kid from going down. But that's where you really see this bot lane come alive. And especially when they 5-Kid and Straight struggled so much against DFM's bot lane, like dying twice. It feels like you kind of need that help. But we're looking at a potential dive here in the top side.
Yeah, they don't even need 6. They need level 3. They just need full access to QWE, and they're going to look to try and make this one work. You can see Lonely is feeling just that as he tries to make this one work, but it is first blood to Faker. It's just so clean.
I mean, this is a T1 classic, right? Like, you get Faker in the lane, starts to roam up top side, and just really nice timing, right? He's able to just push that wave in against Alone and get up top, and he might lose a little bit of the wave mid here, but should be able to TP back and collect the majority of it. So really nice job from T1.
Again, it's kind of what we expect. They're just so clean with how they just execute and go for it.
Yeah, and this only becomes harder now for AZE in this mid lane, because you can see already Merc Thread's picked up for Faker. This is kind of the problem that you see a lot of the times with these double AP mid jungles, is you just end up picking up Merc Threads. You don't have the damage you really need to get through the mid lane or even the jungler, and it just becomes harder and harder to play that 2v2. So at least for Alone now, he's going to be in a little bit more of a difficult spot in trying to get control of this lane over Faker.
See if they're able to kind of make something work from it. And honestly, T1, you know, they're happy now with a very passive bot lane. Again, it's the farming set, or the farming Wukong coming in with the Senna, kind of, you know, just picking up the scraps and the souls. So you're going to scale. You're going to become a massive threat in those mid to late game team fights, and you don't really need to do anything to change that.
I mean, this is where I kind of look towards T1, like, right, like what happens when we get towards, you know, these objectives, like Dragon's about to spawn about 10 seconds. If you can keep the control that you have for Gumayushi and carry over bot side, Faker is pushing mid, you start to stack these up, and suddenly this like team fighting style that you have for T1 is actually incredibly strong. When you look at the way this carry can set up, you got AZE with a ton of damage over the back line, you got double 8 carries, like it is actually really hard to try and play these fights as AZE against that much engage. And as AZE, if you start to fall behind, your combo doesn't really work. Like, you're the ones that are trying to engage aggressively. So if T1 are getting off to these early leads, it's a little bit of a problem for AZE.
We're starting to see just little small things going in the favor of T1 as well, getting those early invades in, but Owner doesn't overstep. He recognizes he hasn't got the support, he backs away. Just very smart movement coming out from T1 and for AZE. I want to see them, you know, blow something up here, and I do think we are going to start to look towards Dimitri, like, you know, yourself and Ox said. It is going to be on this jungler once he hits level 6 to try and make something work, but Owner's already found himself in the alcove. He's waiting to try and see if someone steps forward.
Yeah, I think you got to kind of pick your moments here as AZE. Like, when you hit 6, see if you can roam down to bot side, maybe get some sort of play onto Gumayushi and carry it, but Owner actually sitting here waiting in the wings, just making sure T1 can push this wave in.
We'll land the route. It's a bit too far forward. You can see them over there. I feel like they're kind of telegraphing this a little bit with the Squire's Bloom. Say, oh, never mind. We're going to go in straight away. We're going to force the flash out from Straight as he tries to get away. The Owner flashes in after him and picks up a kill. The heal has been used, but it was a little bit too late from 5-Kid. And now he has to try and pick up this wave by himself.
Yeah, Dimitri trying to see if he can get the counterplay on top side, but Faker already moving up here to cover this.
And they're already covering it as well. There's no level 6 here from Dimitri. He's going to be a bit of a 2v1 right now for Zeus. He's got that needlework doing work. They try to get on top of him. He still won't go down. The charm misses, but it does not matter because it's the Spirit Rush. One more auto attack gives him the resets as well. Lonely will be forced to flash, but it does not matter for the O.
And this is something that Faker's been so good at across the LCK, is whenever you see these plays happening bot side, he'll just drift to the opposite side of the map, make sure he's covering these cross-map plays, and it comes in perfectly there. Zaya stays up and healthy, and you get the 2 kills. Faker's 3-0, T1 looking damn good in the early game.
It is already starting to feel a little bit tough right now for AZE. And then again, this Kindred pick has just been so good at just kind of changing the momentum, changing the pace of when you expect ganks.
Yeah, I think you can see here, like, Owner does a really good job of just getting this play, like, straight. Like, really didn't need to go in there. Carry kind of doing a nice job of baiting him into that play. They think they can get a nice trade. Owner's in position. They get him with Faker on the Roman. The thing for Dimitri here as well, he's not even going for the Scuttle Crab, right? Like, removing these marks from the Kindred. So Kindred gets her second mark off of that as well. Just unfortunate for Owner that he didn't have the mark on the Alistar when he got the kill.
Look, Dimitri, I see a good flash from the charm, you know, thumbs up, well done. It doesn't make a difference because 2 kills to go over to Faker. Faker didn't even have to use his flash there. He still has it.
Faker's all right at League of Legends.
I don't know. I think that's a bit of a controversial statement to say, man. I don't want to get cancelled for saying something like that, you know.
Fair.
Well, we're gonna see another engage, but Owner's already here. It's gonna be a 2v2. Zeus is getting jumped on here, but they've already got the Kindred there. They do have the perfect timing with the Lamb's respite, and they turn it back. My God!
And the healing that comes through from Zayas with the ultimate as well. That was just nasty. And do we get more on the bot side here?
I mean, this is getting tough to watch right now, Dag. The AZE just don't have a hope and a prayer. For the first time, Alone is on the map. I see him and he just died. This could be basically an ace right now. You're going to see 5Kid trying to go for a 5-head play. Has to flash. Will keep his life. But, dude, that's not your bot lane. You got to leave.
Look, I'm not going to lie. We might be looking at the first perfect game from MSI's. 5Kid, no! Why? Oh, yeah.
You had a 5-head play into a 2-head play. Didn't really work.
It's a bit unfortunate. But, I mean, for T1, they're absolutely destroying. Like, this is the early game that everyone's been terrified of coming into MSI. You see how well they're able to move around the map. You got Owner making a play on one side, Faker's already drifted to the bottom side to make the other. Like, it's so clean to watch, and it's why they're so dangerous in these early stages where they can just take over with plays everywhere. You see it in the replay here, right? You got the ultimate, not quite available for Gwen, but Owner times this perfectly. The damage is nearly there, like you can see it.
28.
That was
28
insane.
HP. That's trigger discipline, man. That is just.
That's tilting.
Oh, stop. that is, and you're so close to say. And this is the thing as well, is that like it doesn't just stop in top lane. They go, cool. We were 2v2. Now it's 3v3, and we know we're stronger.
And you can even see Alone is down here to try and help cover, but only ends up giving more blood to the Blood God for T1. And 5Kid, I mean, just about able to get away from that, but
then he came back.
Yeah, mistakes were made, all right? Mistakes were made.
It was a very unfortunate play there for AZE. Now we're 0-9. That's nearly a 6,000 gold lead, and we've just hit 10 minutes.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Like,
just appreciate it.
So, I mean, Quickshot was asking on the desk, you know, like, how quick do you see these games going? Well, we might be looking at a pretty quick one here.
And we'll see. They did see Owner coming down here, but I don't think there's much they can do about this if he decides to fully commit. We are going to see their carrier going in onto 5Kid, and that's just a lot of damage. They have to fully commit there with the Alistair, and this is now becoming a 2v1, which is actually in favor of carrier. He's never going to be under kill pressure, and he has his own, and they sneak in, get over the top. Owner gets himself that kill, and they delete Dimitri from the map. Carrier's going to try and flash away and keep himself alive. He's going to be the first one to fall.
Oh,
no! Oh my God. Okay, Straight does eventually take him down, but that almost looked very bad.
I mean, that is very bad. You think you got Carrier, but having that clone available just manages to skedaddle away from the damage, and now Alone's in trouble.
He's alone in name and in nature, because there's just nowhere for him to go, nothing for him to see.
Ooh, Carrier ruined our perfect game.
Yeah,
buddy.
Come on, Carrier, let the side down.
Best player at the tournament, really?
Yeah, I mean, really? I don't see a death on anyone else.
Seriously though, like,
Twitter analysts.
Phenomenal play from Carrier though, like being able to get the kill, being able to force the flash away from 5Kid in the heal already. Like, this is what we were talking about. Like, the level 6 being hit from Wukong, he just becomes such a menace to this bot side of the map, and it opens up Gumayushi to make these wrong plays with Faker.
Oh, he's very lucky he did not path upwards there, because I feel like that would have been another death onto the Jays. And the thing is, it's like, and you know, look, obviously, we're being incredibly impressed by T1 and how clean and clinical they are being. And it's not as if we can point to one specific thing from AZE and just go, oh, that's the problem. Because you look at everything across the board, they just haven't got a chance in terms. It's just hard.
Yeah, and you can see the difference, right, with T1, as Zays would just walk away, is T1 aren't kind of like put off kilter against like Saigon Buffalo yesterday, right? Where there was the flashes, there was the 2v2 kills. Like, this is the T1 that a lot of people expected to come into the tournament, and you're seeing why they are such a threat, why they were favorites coming into this tournament. When they're able to control the game like this, I mean, what do you do?
Well, Dimitri is sitting on top of a ward. He will be revealed now because of the Squire's Bloom, but yeah, that is, they've got to try something, but I don't know. Like, look at the items on the left-hand side of the screen. Now look at the items on the right-hand side of the screen. It's not even close.
I mean, basic mythics complete across the board. The only one, Gumayushi, still working up towards that Eclipse. I mean, the gold lead is astronomical, and I feel a bit sorry for AZE at this stage, right? Yesterday didn't really go their way. They couldn't really get themselves into the game. 5 kidding straight, getting bullied a little bit. And now you're against DFM, and now you're looking at going up against T1, and it's feeling very similar.
Well, got some fun stats while we wait for some things to happen. Yeah, shortest game in MSI 2022 was Istanbul Wildcats versus RNG, 22 minutes and 26 seconds. Shortest game at MSI all time was actually IG versus SKT in 2019, 16 minutes and 1 second. So T1, they're no strangers to quick games, specifically at MSI.
Fair. I mean, at least the turret plates are helping to keep these terrors healthy for a little bit, right? So we won't be getting any 16-minute games, but I mean, Zay's already in the top side. Owner looking for Lonely.
I mean, he's going to put
bot side.
Yeah, they're going to try and get 2 fronts now, and they're going to be able to get the ultimate out of Dimitri, but he's just got nothing there. They get the Cyclone down. 5K trying to just run away. He's been ignited. Faker smells blood as Owner, who was 1v2ing, ends up actually falling down, and Zeus, excuse me, picking himself back off that one, not trying to get the resets down, and actually now straight, trying to see if he can survive, but it's all inevitable. He will fall down, and that's going to be more turrets, more gold. It is nearly 10,000 gold, and the turret plates have just fallen. Everyone on T1 has more gold than everyone on AZE.
This is insane. Like, this is actually insane, especially because you've got that, like, the fasting Senna, Gumayushi being ahead of everyone. Even the sport is up in place. So, I mean, look, this is non-stop domination from T1. And, I mean, look, our Owner goes a bit aggressive here, but does it really matter in the grand scheme of things or where T1 are?
I mean, the jungler of T1 is a level ahead of the solo laners from AZE. That's kind of explains everything. I will say, good turnaround there from AZE. Unfortunate that the mist was available to stop that, but...
And this is where you kind of have those conversations, you know, it's like, oh, we're super happy to get to MSI because we get to play against Faker. We get to, you know, really learn from them.
We were super happy because we got to cast Faker.
Yeah, I mean, what do you take away from this game? Like, well,
now
I guess we got hand diffed, you know, map diffed, everything diffed. It's like...
Now I know why the LCK goes into podcast mode sometimes. It's just kind of, you don't have a choice. Like, what are you supposed to talk about? It's kind of already done and dusted when you come into it. But yeah, like I'm gonna say right now, you're gonna need several miracles. The second coming of Christ for AZE to try and come back into this game, just given what's going on right now. And T1, they're just gonna take it, you know, easy breezy, ham and cheesy.
Yeah, this is just gonna, I mean, continue. The only saving grace for AZE is that, like, hey, look, we haven't had dragon stacking from T1, so at least it'll take them a little bit longer before they concept this game. But maybe, but with the way T1 are moving around the map right now, I mean, you push mid, you rotate up onto top side if you want, or you just kill alone.
You just kill him. You land the Everfrost. Where's he going to go? Absolutely nowhere, and that's going to be all the damage. And interesting enough that you bring up the lack of dragon stacking, shall we say, from T1, because when we were looking into them and how they play in the regular season, they just don't prioritize that objective. I guess Carey is going to try and just 1v2, but they can't go near him. But yeah, they don't prioritize Dragon.
I appreciate that you're digging deep into the notes for anything that can bring in
I found a segue, and I was like, cool. Let's try and avert the attention from the horrible massacre that's happening on screen.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've even got, like, second Rift Herald is available now, and you have one outer turret that you can use to take it. Otherwise, Freak is kind of like nodding his finger at you, going, don't take the inhibitor. But I mean, at this stage, it's like, does it really matter?
Does it matter? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, I think even Super Minions coming into you at this stage, I don't even know if you'd be strong enough to kill them. That's how far behind you are right now. We're still waiting for Zeri's first item. Still.
Yeah, it hasn't been going great. Hasn't been swell.
I'm very excited for Istanbul Wildcats versus Red Canids.
I'm ready for the monologue. That's the one. I am too.
Yeah. Yinsu's been very proud and loud.
For anyone who doesn't know, Yinsu is a genuinely like massive fan of the TCL.
It was really funny in the meeting.
Yeah,
she was like, "Hey, I need like 3 to 4 minutes. Here we go." And she just like gushing, and we're like, "Sick! Write all these notes down. This is amazing." But yeah, I'm very excited for that little head-to-head, and I'm just genuinely hoping it's a little closer than this.
And I'm glad that we're going to get the opportunity to just steal her from Valorant as well, where we just indoctrinate her into League of Legends through her TCL love and just take her away, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're going to see Faker. He's done with this this game, flashing forward, getting the charm. They even have the ultimate from the Senate to come in. Shelly's still going. They're looking for the dancing Shelly. That's what they want. They're looking for it. They're going to try and kill her off. No! Shelly has died, as has Dimitri. And this is just going to be an easy walk in for Keria.
He walked it in. He did walk it in.
He, by definition, just walked it in, but it does not matter. This game in 18 minutes and just above it is going to be done and dusted.
I mean, domination from start to finish. AZE starting to respawn. Do they win the 4v5?
I mean,
T1 are going to back away, but yeah, I mean, at least you get a little bit of respite here. But AZE, I mean, this one's long gone.
Yeah, this one's long gone. So it feels bad. I don't personally like saying it, but I gotta call a spade sometime. An ace a spade. Hey, there we go. Silver linings. I found something.
Terrible puns. Yeah. That's what we have to look forward to.
Freak would be proud.
Yeah.
I learned from the best. But yeah, this is just T. And honestly, it's hard not to be impressed by T1. It's like, and I think this is a genuine thing. It's like, look, you can speculate, you can see different things as Faker goes in, does Faker things, and he's just going to be able to get the kill again. But incredibly impressive just to see how clean, clinical, cold-hearted they can be, and you just cannot miss them. Because again, I don't believe there was any egregious mistakes from AZE this game. They just got diffed, full stop.
But that's why, like, genuinely for like some of the top teams like G2, RNG, like I think T1's early game is terrifying.
Monstrous.
They do this against everyone. As Owner will find the 1v1.
Here we go, 1v1 versus the junglers. It's very close, but not close enough. Dimitri, you got your wish, but Owner shall strike you down.
Yeah, he got collected. But I mean, realistically, like RNG, we saw in finals, really struggled in the early game against top esports. G2 as well, not the best of teams in the early game. It's more their mid game / objective setup. So for T1, you can see what they can do with these early leads, and I think that's why so many people are terrified.
Here we go, the Vex finally getting in with a Shadow Surge, but you are all alone right now, and that's just going to be another easy kill. 3-22, 2 dragons, but as we established earlier, T1 do not care about dragons. They do, however, care about gold, and they've got a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, 2 inhibitors down at the 20-minute mark, making it 3 on the way. I mean, there's so much gold that you can take from this, but this is, you're just going to get drowned in super creeps.
Here we go, Keria, round 3. Does he die once more? It's the question. Is Dimitri maybe going to try and look for it here? Flash away there by Lonely as he ends up seeing straight fall right before his eyes. Dimitri and Lonely running back to their base, but not even your fountain is saved. And that is going to be the shortest game at MSI 2022 so far.
Was a stop. And that was a statement from T1. Saigon Buffalo made these boys angry yesterday, and they were just like, all right, we ain't messing about anymore.
It's literally like Mike Tyson when someone like disses him and it's like the next fight. You're like, oh, why did it have to be me, man? Like, this isn't cool. I didn't diss you. I didn't try and challenge you. Why are you going to take this out on me? But honestly, anything except that, I think T1 fans would be definitely disappointed. That was domination. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, and again, like, it's the fact that you're not seeing you're correctly seeing the respect given, right? Like, they're playing like they normally would in an LCK, which is like Faker willing to drop waves so we can set up side lanes. You're getting him covering both sides of the map whenever you see Owner trying to make a play. Like, this is what has made them such a powerhouse in the early game in LCK, and it's great to kind of see all that movement happening so quickly. And as you can see, the LLA representative just not able to keep pace with how fast T1 play the game.
And that's why they're so scary. It's the pace setting. It's the ideas that they come up with in those very, very small moments. It's like 2 to 3 seconds. It's like you mentioned as well. Like, okay, you're moving bot, we're going to move top. Faker can move over here. And mechanically, they know they can pull it off. That's the scary thing. We've seen it multiple times. Dives go wrong. You get slightly outplayed, but it doesn't feel like it's possible to outplay T1 sometimes.
Yeah, especially when you give Faker a pick like Ari, right? Like, gets good control over the lane, able to roam to side lanes, and I mean, the man's been playing for nearly 10 years. I think he's somewhat familiar with Ari as a champion. Even back in, like Season 3, where he's hunting supports with, like, Deathfire Grasp. Like, the man has been around long enough to be very DFG. Proficient on this.
RIP DFG. So a lot of viewers probably don't even have a clue what we're talking about, but yeah.
We're boomers.
We are boomers. We're esports boomers, as it always is.